Hello and welcome back to the Winning Agenda's coverage of the SANSAN Circuit Last Chance Qualifier. My name's Jesse Marshall and I'm here with Sam Woodland.
Hello again.
So Sam, we've got Controlling the Message and Geist, another NBN versus Criminal matchup. How do you feel about this matchup?
I think it'll be very interesting. Geist is an ID that is way too complicated for me to play, and I never bother with it. But I do know that it's extremely strong and extremely powerful if you can get all the pieces up. But so it'll be interesting to see how this plays out with him being able to get his credits rolling with Tech Trader and trash everything, getting his draw happening and everything like that. So Geist, once set up, is very, very powerful. And NBN will obviously have quite a fair bit of asset spam. And we're seeing a hard-hitting news already.
Oof.
So this is going to really hurt Geist and his tempo.
And this is not a good start for the Geist player who ran on that server 1 on their first turn and didn't trash because of the controlling the message ability. Then played out the 2 Tech Traders, which is a great start, but now has been hard-hitting used. And that's the really tough thing. If you get below 8 credits against these decks that are playing hard-hitting use, you're in a lot of trouble.
That's right. So not a good start, but he has plenty of time to recover. But I would say his resources, obviously his resources are going to be quite vulnerable for the first few turns.
So we've got a little bit of value off those Tech Traders, just trying to get something out of them before they are presumably trashed. And will we see a trash of that Bankers group? I would sort of like to see the Bankers group trashed here because I think the extra tag is not as bad for Geist as his opponent having that many extra credits.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. So he is removing the tags. One option might have been to go tag me that early and just go, okay, and just try and go tag me, see how you go. But I think that would have probably been the wrong move. I think he's just going to have to take a big tempo hit and spend the first few turns recovering to shake these tags.
I would have liked to have seen both of those Bankers trash there. I think that it would put firstly for that reason, because it makes trashing those Tech Traders a little bit harder for the Controlling the Message player, which is a big part of how Geist could recover. But secondly, because now, if Geist is going to go in and trash them, it's presumably going to be in a couple of turns' time.
Yeah.
By which point, the Controlling the Message player is just going to be in such a better position. And I don't know that the tags were going to be that relevant for an extra couple of turns, whereas I think the Bankers are really relevant for an extra couple of turns. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. That's very well analysed.
Particularly, I mean, it's obviously not true if we see some Scorched Earths coming out, but if we see Exchange of Information and Psycho as the main tag punishments, then it possibly wouldn't be so relevant now. Psycho more so, Exchange of Information very much not.
Yeah. I would have a great deal of respect for this Controlling the Message player if he has a Scorched Earth in there. But we're already seeing some of his influence gone with the commercial bankers group. So we're unlikely to see a Scorched, unfortunately.
And only 12 in the Controlling the Message decks. Yeah. It's the one small downside of this otherwise very powerful identity. Hedge fund. So now the court player is awash with cash, gaining 7 credits without spending a click at the start of every single turn.
Yeah, he is minted. Absolutely minted. So the Geist player may need to start poking around, find out what that ice is on HQ. I would be a bit of a risk, but it might almost be worth doing when you have no programs out, so you can not have any trashed, and then you may be able to find something to get the siphon off, because he needs some coin. All right, Geist has got Inti out, which is a great low-cost barrier breaker. Everybody seems to be playing low-cost barriers these days, so it's a better one to splash for instead of the Corroder, which was the standard for a while. But yeah, you're not seeing anything now past like a vanilla or a wraparound too much these days, so it's a good breaker to have.
Yeah, Inti's going to cost you a lot if you're trying to break through curtain walls with it, but it's less cost up front and also less influence if you're just going to be breaking, as you say, so many wraparounds and vanillas.
All right, so the Geist player's just been stabilising, getting some of his breakers out, while the controlling the message player is just getting minted. He's just drawing, getting heaps of cash, and
31 credits.
This is going to be exceedingly difficult for the Geist player to recover, but stranger things have happened.
Yeah, so that's where you can see the difference. We're up to turn 7 for the Corp about to start, which means that I think the hard-hitting news was on turn 2. So we've had 5 turns of bankers and that pad, so 5 7s. Is that right?
Yep.
35 credits? Can't be that many. Must be 4, because we've had some hedge fund and stuff played as well. But anyway, about that many. That's a lot of extra credits that have come about from not trashing those bankers on that turn when the Geist player did have a choice. The Corp was on 3 credits and had those assets in play. And the temptation to remove the tags proved irresistible. But I still think that, yeah, getting rid of those economy assets at that time hopefully would have slowed the Corp player down a lot more than taking that extra tag would have for the runner.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think that was the critical misplay of this game. Now it's almost not worth him trashing those commercial banker groups because the MBM player's got such a massive head start now.
So it's sort of at the point where the runner player has to say, you can beat me on traces and you can res whatever you like, and I've still got to have good enough breakers and good enough cards to win the game despite that, and that's a pretty tough equation. I would still, if the runner player could find some economy, like to see some trashes happening, because then at least once the runner player stabilizes to 20 or so credits, the Corp player can't just win every single trace into eternity. They have to choose the 1 or 2 traces that they want to win. Whereas now, as it stands, gaining 7 a turn is just an insurmountable economic advantage.
Yeah, and he's seeing a tech trade. He's only getting his first tech trader out on turn 8. Is it turn 8?
Yeah.
So that's horrible for a Geist player. You really want at least a tech trader on turn 1 or 2. So for him to be seeing it, his first one on turn 8, it's just not his day. It's not his day.
And if we do see any runs, we can presume that we're going to see another hard-hitting news at some point. 1 is down, but we don't know how many are in the deck or what sort of tutoring capability the deck has. We could see some consulting visits in as alliance cards, for example.
I reckon that would be an agenda that he's put in server 4 again. I think all he's doing now is he's going to be scoring out every second turn.
So the quantum predictive models here are quite strong in this sort of deck. If there's a data raven there, that's obviously a combo that people have used for this card since it came out, which is that essentially if the runner doesn't have film critic, they can't steal the agenda from that server.
Yeah, and it's a good one to forfeit to score the breaking news as well if you want to murder them. Not that we're going to see that happen.
24/7.
24/7,
Of
yeah.
course.
Alright, so the Geist players installing a sports hopper, drawing heaps of cards, synergizing with his ability, and we'll probably see some more breakers spammed out just to increase the strength of them.
So we can see here now that the Geist player is starting to get that rig set up. Losing those 2 tech traders was so key, because every single trash that's happened since then, every one of these spy cameras, every one of the street peddler, sports hopper, tech rider, would have been gaining 2 extra credits, which would have made the engine just function, because then you're drawing cards, you're able to play them out rather than having to manually gain credits in between.
I think we're about to see an all-seeing eye as well.
Yeah, so that's now the problem, is that we're getting to the point where the Geist player is just getting a little bit more set up, but they're about to lose a whole lot of resources, I think. So I think that's about all that we're going to see used here. You actually can't use the breakers unless you're encountering a piece of ice.
Yep, all-seeing eye, got rid of the rest of his resources. So
there goes a tech rider, a bazaar, and a tech trader. How would you feel right now if you were the runner player, Sammy?
I would have conceded a long time ago. Yeah, this game is well and truly beyond the criminal player now. He's just doing the good bloke thing and running it out so the NBN player can feel good about themselves, potentially get up to about 80 credits. But yeah, this game's over.
So what is the path to scoring out here if you're the NBN player? You've got Code Gate, Sentry, Barrier Breaker on the criminal side, so they can presumably get past most of whatever ice you've got here. Is there a potential out for Geist to just gain quite a few credits, get in there with a legwork, perhaps get in there with a Maker's Eye if they're splashing that?
There's a potential for him to score a couple, because generally NBN ice, like they run Resistor, they run Wraparound, they'll run Quandaries, so it's usually low cost ice that you see put around. So you could get through it with your breaking and entering breakers, but to be able to steal 7 points worth, it would, at this stage, I think it's going to be quite difficult.
So we're seeing the levy there, which is going to put back some of those key resources, which is a good start. But coming from a base of 0 credits now, after spending 5 on that levy, puts the criminal player, I think, a good another 2 or 3 turns behind where they'd like to be if they were going to try and contest anything here. So another QPM. I mean, that's not so bad. If that was a 3 for 2, that would have been really quite horrible. But your opponent being on 4 points is very, very different to them being on 5.
This actually says to me that the NBN player was a little bit nervous about a run there by putting the QPM. Because I think he deliberately put a 1-pointer there to try and force Geist to run. Yeah. So that tells me that the ice there is quite porous and he can actually get in. Now,
it also says to me, Sammy, that there's probably some larger agendas in HQ.
Yeah. Yeah, so now he's installed an advanced twice. So the Geist player will have to run there. He has to run there because that could be the
GFI.
The GFI.
Yeah.
And what's he doing?
So we've got 5 spy cameras in play.
Yeah.
Only the 1 tech trader. And unfortunately, 1 click short there, the Geist player, from using the tech writer, which I think would have been really nice for them. Archangel, that's going to be really, really painful here.
Yeah, particularly, what can he break? He can break barriers. He can break barriers.
Code Gate and Sentry, but the Code Gate break is only 4 strength.
Yeah, so you would expect a barrier to be there somewhere, so we're probably going to see Inti return to hand.
Yep, you would have thought so.
And that's probably going to be an end of the run and GG.
Ouch.
Yep.
There goes that Inti. So we'll probably see a Resistor or a Wraparound here.
Yep.
There we go, Wraparound.
And the runner can't break that. So I would say that's going to be the end of the game.
So assuming that's a global food initiative, that's going to be the game. Oh, the runner did have another click there, so they could have possibly cracked that technical rider before, but the 5 credits not particularly relevant. Yeah, there goes the global food initiative. So well played to both players. A bit of a blowout in the end there. 61 credits on the corp side just shows you the power of that controlling the message deck. So well played. Hard luck to the Geist player hitting that hard hitting news on turn 2.
Yeah, that was critical. That turned the game.
But we'll be back next round with more coverage of the Winning Agenda's SANSAN Circuit Qualifier on Gintechie.net. Thanks to you all for watching. I've been Jesse Marshall here with Sam Woodland.
Thank you very much.